Go.
Okay, so I'm going to give a demo here for handles, for Art 18, beginning ceramics. And let's talk about a handle. A handle is any place that you can grab a cup by, or a pitcher, or whatever. You could even do a handle like this. That's actually a handle, because I can put my fingers right in there. You don't have to do that. I could do a T-bowl. T-bowls are held like this, so actually the whole thing becomes a handle. A handle can be just as simple as, where's my, hold that thought. There we go. Sorry. It could be as simple as, you have to score and slip a handle on. By the way, you want to let your cylinder become leather hard first, and then you want to trim it. And then you want to put the handle on, so that's the order. Okay, get some mush going here, make your paste. This could be a handle. It's a ball of clay, and you just squish it on. That's a handle. You could actually make it to your own fingerprints, sort of like your iPhone. Put it in like that. That's your own handle. But let's get on to some more sophisticated handles. But any of these are handles. Anything that grabs something by is a handle. You want to consider the shape of your mug. If you have sort of a latte cup or a teacup, you might want an ear like that. If you've got a cylinder that has shape to it, you want to consider this interior volume, and then maybe have the handle grow out of that interior volume like that. So it has some kind of flow to the form. It could even flow off the top here like that. So you think of flow that way. Most of you are going to have just a plain cylinder, and the handle can do anything. It's just a plain cylinder. So let's say you have like this. It could be down here. It could be up here. It could be in the middle, depending on how much, if you want the weight of it to be underneath, the weight of it on top of your hand, or sometimes it can be a little tipsy this way if you put it on top. But it's all fair game on the cylinder. It's not that much weight. Usually a cylinder, you can put anything for a cylinder. Anything's appropriate for a cylinder. This, you could do that, but I think handles that come sort of more straight out are actually more appropriate for a mug. Okay, so let's show you the different ways. It's sort of a progression from easy to more complex. So here's a very easy. Let me put a score and slip a patch area where I can put a handle on. Again, this is the glue. I only have to do it on this side. I don't have to do it. This is the side that's leather hard. The handle itself is going to be fresh raw clay. So I'll let this get gooey while I'm doing this. An easy handle to do is just a cylinder. I mean a coil. Very simple. You want it too thick. So, and you should all know how to do a coil by now, after making those big projects. So I just go on like this, and it's a very simple, very nice handle. Let me take this guy off. Let's pretend I scored a slit. So it just goes on like that. You can go straight off like that. You can make it more of an ear and change the thing like that by how you cut it. So that all works just fine. The next generation of handle is you could roll out a coil, and then smack it down, cut off, and so it's a sharp end there. And now what you have, which is sort of interesting, you've got a rounded part here where your finger can go and it's flat on top so your thumb can rest on it. And you just attach that. You can also flange it out a little bit, put it in here. I'll show you why that might be helpful. So I made a little bit of a dent there. What happens is you get this flange here, and that can fit right in there, so you can actually just press on the flange area without touching the cup, or the rest of the handle. So I can sit like that, and then down there, and then just play with it. This looks ugly right now, but it will look nice if I want to play with it. Anyway, so again, round on here, flat top. Then we get to the pulled handle. It's the next generation. There's two ways of doing a pulled handle. Let's do the non-macho way first, and that would be to pull it right off of get a mound of clay like this. I'm going to hand's wet. If I want a rounder handle, my hand's rounder. If I want a flatter handle, it goes flatter. If I just go up from one direction, it starts to twist. So I have to go both directions, this way, and this way, this way, and this way. I can put a thumb down the middle for a place to rest my thumb when after it's done. Or I can do, some people like to do get a ridge down the middle, which is more decorative than functional. But you get a thumb here, and get this ridge down the middle. If it gets too thick down here, I kind of like that, but I'm going to go ahead and pinch it off because it's going to be more difficult to pull. So I pull it. In general, I like to have a handle about the thickness of the mug. However, that's a rule you can break. Once it gets to the thinness you like, you can put it over here on the table and just let it sit up here until it's leather hard. It already has gravity in your favor, creating the loop or the gesture of curve. So it's to your advantage. Once it's ready to go, you can cut it off and then stick it on the mug. If I wanted to do a teacup handle, which is more of an ear-sized handle, I go like this. I cut it at a severe angle, like that. And then I have to sit down for this next part. Sit down, let it rest. I want to do it this one. I'll let it rest on my leg. It's up here. Put it upside down. And this part can go into the mug. Yeah? And then paying close attention to the loop that it makes. So it makes a nice loop. Okay. I don't like that quite yet. There we go. Something like that. And then I make sure this is joined down here. You don't have to score and slip down here, and generally mugs are wetter down here than they are up here after you trim them, or they're drier up here, so they need to be scored and slipped more up here than they do down here. It's generally wetter down here because the clay is thicker where you just trimmed. So anyway, that's for a teacup handle. And again, you can let it set up first if you want. And then the final one I'm going to show you is the more macho way, which is the way I do my handles. You get a piece of clay that feels pretty good. So all those processes, I do a probably kind of a tapered coil. Cut it right there. So you can see how it's tapered. I like things that taper. It comes like this off of the mug. And throw it down. I might even cut it again to make sure I have the thickest part here. Okay. Now I've already scored and slipped this area from before. I'm going to make a flange in here again. So I tap it and kind of press my finger in here so it sticks out past the handle all the way around. You can see how all the way around it has this flange. So when I push on the mug, I'm just hitting that area rather than pinching on the handle itself. Now, so I'm gonna get the angle here right. Can you see it? I go here and I push it on. I'll push it on over here. Again, I'm just sort of hitting the flange area. I'll look down here, press it in. Just make sure it's really well joined. Okay. What I like to do, some people pull right from here. What I like to do is actually thin it out just by pinching a little bit. So I give myself a little bit of a head start by pinching. Important not to pinch too close to here. You can get it's really easy to get too thin right here when you're pinching. So I start back a little ways and make sure that it doesn't get too thin. So I'm just gently pinching, which you all know how to do from our first project. Make sure you can see how it tapers into flows into the mug. Okay, I'm gonna start pulling. Lots of water. Get all the lumps out. Also, I can't really get pulled right up against the mug, so I need to make sure that this joint feels nice to me and nice and smooth. Feels pretty good. Sometimes I'll use this part of my finger as opposed to this part. It makes it a little bit different, makes it a little more rounded for some reason. I have kind of a crinkle in here that makes it sharp. I feel a little bit of a thickness right here, so I'm going to take that off. This way, Want to do that thing down the middle or on the sides like this, I could do that. I'm also going just a tiny bit up. We'll see why in a second. Gives it kind of a nice gesture. Alrighty, now I got a lot left over, so I can go like this. Oops, make sure it's not bowed. And when you sit down, I like to put a finger down here, underneath here, so that I make sure that I got room under here also. If it gets too tight down here, you can bring your fingers on it. And then I could do a fishtail here, or I could even take this up. I could do one of two things. I could bring that up and then fishtail it like this. Or I could have just torn that off and just done another, just use the excess clay to do this joint here. And that's really all you need to do to join it. Then I look at the side, look at the profile. Maybe I want to come up a little bit so it hangs on my fingers a little bit easier. And maybe down here so I don't, it keeps my knuckles away from the pot. Voila. Thank you.